The Movie Preview Critic. Informing and entertaining your movie world.
Based on the preview, the story of Iron Man goes something like this. Tony Stark is on a trip in Afghanistan to introduce a new weapon system to the US Air Force when his caravan is attacked. He's injured, taken prisoner, and forced to build a weapon, but instead constructs a bulletproof suit that allows him to escape. When he returns to the US, he learns his company has been taken over by one of the senior executives, Obadiah Stane, who thought Stark was dead. Stark takes back the company, and pissed off, Stane begins to work on his own Iron Man design, the Ironmonger. Kick-ass action conflict between these two begins here. And look for Stark to experiment with perfecting the Iron Man suit design. This will create a lot of comedy as he gets used to the controls of the suit and ends up flying into things and breaking a lot of stuff. Much the same way Peter Parker learned how to use his powers in Spider-Man 1. Eventually, Stane gets the upper hand, and with the use of his Ironmonger suit, looks like he's gonna actually defeat Iron Man. But as the climactic battle between these two signals the end of the movie, there's no doubt that Iron Man wins. Pretty standard structure, and that's exactly what we want. Iron Man is the last of the great comic book characters who have yet to be adapted into live action. So it's fine that it has the standard 3-act mainstream Hollywood movie structure. After all, it's worked really well for X-Men, Spider-Man, and Batman. So even if the story is a bit predictable, as long as it's well crafted, the somewhat cliché plot is forgivable, especially because there's really never been a character like Iron Man on the big screen before. Sure, before Iron Man was created in 1962, there had been some not so convincing metallic type characters in the movies. You had the old school King Arthur Knights, then there was Tin Man from Wizard of Oz, and of course Gort in the 1951 sci-fi classic The Day the Earth Stood Still. And if you actually look at the first drawings of Iron Man, there is sort of a resemblance between these two. Since then, Iron Man's design has evolved, and his influence has spread, inspiring a few recent movie creations. Maybe the best and most obvious Iron Man wannabe is RoboCop, with a little bit of Judge Dredd mixed in. Made in 1987 with no CGI, just old school imagination and ingenuity. If Iron Man would have been made before the CGI age, he would have looked a lot like this. Other not so great Iron Man wannabes would include The Rocketeer, The Guyver, and of course, Steel, starring Shaq Fu. After seeing all these superhero costumes, I have to ask, why is it that so many of them leave their faces unprotected? It's time for a mental movie note. Dear bad guys, when a superhero has an impenetrable suit covering his body, yet leaves his head exposed, aim for the face. Love, the Movie Preview Critic. I don't know about you, but that always takes me out of a movie. When you just sit there and ask yourself, am I the only one wondering why the bad guys aren't shooting at the hero's weak spot? These heroes' faces are left uncovered so the audience can maintain a human connection to the characters. The reactions of the human face say more than the words of any hero's "I caught the bad guy" monologue. But it's used at the expense of logic. That doesn't sound like an even trade. Thankfully, Iron Man's face is totally covered. And let's give some respect to Iron Man's live-action movie design. It looks awesome. Mainly because it's extremely faithful to the comic book look. A good sign that the filmmakers actually gave a about the fans' expectations. And then there's the action. It looks holy jaw-dropping awesome. Iron Man flying is totally badass. Blowing up this tank? Wow. The man in charge is director John Favreau. He's gone on record saying he wanted to make Iron Man as realistic as possible and wanted to follow the gritty, emotional, character-centered example established by Batman Begins. This is music to the ears of good movie lovers around the world. Now, when I first heard he was directing, I wondered, how the did he get this job? It's not something the studio is marketing, which brings up warning sign number 18. There's no mention of "from the director of," which, from a marketing perspective, kinda makes sense, because the main selling point of this movie is Iron Man, not the director. How would we respond if the poster looked like this? But still, it's not like he's a nobody. Why couldn't the preview have had a little moment like this? But with Iron Man's mixture of comedy and action, it seems like Favreau's cinematic experience should help him on this movie. Coincidentally, Zathura had an Ironmonger-type character in it. Even with that on his resume, it still seems like he's a college baseball player skipping AAA ball and going right to the big leagues. But then again, Bryan Singer had only directed dramas before X-Men. Sam Raimi had a horror-filled resume before Spider-Man. And Christopher Nolan was best known for the small independent mind drama Memento before he took on Batman. The first reaction to hiring this director might be, that, give me someone who knows how to make things look cool when they blow up. But when you stop and think about it, in today's movie world, the biggest challenge is not making things look cool or using CGI to amaze us. The major crisis of today's film world is making characters the most important element of a movie, not the effects. And who better to do that than directors with backgrounds in drama and even comedy, which basically means directors who know how to visualize the emotions of characters and therefore create a connection with the audience. And when you give a director a chance to make a huge summer superhero blockbuster, you know you're going to get their best, because they have something to prove. And if the last 8 years have taught us anything, it's that just because it's a good comic book doesn't mean it's going to be a great movie. There has to be filmmaking talent to match the original brilliance of the source material. When great writers, directors, and actors are brought together, the result can be amazing. And even sometimes, if you have all those factors, greatness is not always guaranteed. This film does have a pretty strong cast. I gotta admit, when I heard Robert Downey Jr. was playing Tony Stark, I thought it was a joke. But after a little bit of examination, it makes pretty good sense. First, he looks like him. Next, Iron Man is basically Marvel Comics' version of Batman. Bruce Wayne and Tony Stark are both mega-rich playboys who have personal dark sides. Stark is even darker, having an addiction to alcohol, and who better to tap into the personal experience of addiction than Robert Downey Jr.? And a great filmmaking choice for Stark's personality is that he isn't a 1950s Clark Kent, aw gee, aw shucks nice guy. He's a kind of cocky, funny jerk, which is a great place to start a character we, the audience, are supposed to root for. The rest of the cast, Gwyneth Paltrow, Terrence Howard, and Jeff Bridges, have Oscar-winning and nominated talent, so it looks like the studio is investing as much in the characters as they are in the CGI. And that's all we as movie lovers really want, a yin-yang balance of emotions and effects, where we can be paralyzed by the holy how did they do that visuals, and at the same time fight back tears, scream out loud in laughter, and smile in satisfaction as if we were in the movie experiencing this journey side by side with the characters. Just because Iron Man is made of cold metal on the outside doesn't mean he's not a three-dimensional human on the inside. If the filmmakers remembered that, then there's still hope for our movie future. The Movie Preview Critic rates Iron Man worthy of big screen viewing. See it at regular price in a packed theater on a weekend night. It's perfect for a dude's night out. Should satisfy action lovers, special effects lovers, comic book adaptation lovers, and fans of the actors that are in it. The producers here are counting on the pre-existing fan base to make it a hit because they're under the influence of trilogy syndrome, hoping to make at least 2 more money-raking installments after this. And there's no denying that Iron Man looks holy awesome. And now it's time for Iron Man's place in movie history. In terms of comic book adaptations, it'll be better than Catwoman, Batman and Robin, Steel, The Hulk, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 and 3, Superman 3 and 4, Batman Forever, Judge Dredd, The Fantastic Four, The Rocketeer, Hellboy, Ghost Rider, The Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer, Daredevil, Elektra, The Avengers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Part 1, The Guyver, X-Men 3, Spider-Man 3, Batman Returns, Superman Returns, and Superman 1. But it won't be able to top Superman 2, Spider-Man 1 and 2, X-Men 1 and 2, and Batman Begins. So there it is, Iron Man's place in movie history. Until next time, choose your movies wisely, and as always,
long live good movies.